So here we go again. This talk is whatever happened to Einstein wrong. Now, the phrase Einstein wrong should really be treated as a shortened saying that means something a bit longer. It can mean such things as Einstein's relativity or wrong, or there's something wrong with the common understanding of relativity, and other possible meanings, because Einstein did say a lot of things, and so when you say Einstein's wrong, what specific thing are you talking about as being wrong from Einstein? But as far as headlines are concerned, when mentioning articles, it's usually dumbed down to the titles like Einstein wrong. And an example of such a headline I'm going to give now. So this is an article and it says Einstein wrong. Scientists call for a new theory, and it's quite a recent article written in November 2020. There are quite a few articles that just say Einstein wrong as the title of them. And I'm going to give an article from Scientific American in August 1993. It doesn't say Einstein wrong in its title, but the implication is that there's something wrong with a common understanding of relativity. Now, this is the article. It's faster than light is the title of the article. And experiments in quantum optics show that two distant events can influence each other faster than any signal could have travelled between them, and that i.e. faster than the speed of light. And just from the headline title, faster than light, that many people, by their common understanding of Einstein's relativity, would have said there's no faster than light. So the title is suggesting that there is faster than light, is suggesting that the common understanding of Einstein's relativity is wrong, or some other variation of that. And this is the rest of what the article is saying, the rest of the page. And now the article argues about such issues as realism and locality. And I'm going to pass on realism. And locality is a fancy word for dealing with the issue of light speed constancy from Einstein's special relativity. And there's a problem combining Einstein's relativity with quantum physics, and the article has to amend what is meant by light speed constancy to try to get it conform to quantum physics. And it says, you can read it there. Let's see what's the relevant part. And it says that one can conclude from these data that the intuitive local realistic picture suggested by Einstein and his cohorts is wrong. It is impossible to explain the observed results without acknowledging that the outcome of a measurement on the one side depends non-locally on the result of a measurement on the other side. So it's pointing out that Einstein is wrong in the sense of there's something wrong with common understanding of Einstein's relativity. But it then tries to save Einstein's relativity. So this is the bit where it tries to save Einstein's theory of relativity. And it starts, so is Einstein's theory of relativity in danger? Astonishingly, no, because there is no way to use the correlations between particles to send a signal faster than light, i.e. faster than light speed in vacuum. And so what it's trying to tell you is you can't do experiments where you send useful information faster than light, although random correlation is sent faster than light. So that's a bit of a change in interpretation for special relativity. So basically what it's saying is what's commonly said about Einstein's relativity has to be rethought, and really to find out more you need to read such articles. But it all traces back to the debate between Bohr and Einstein, which is often summarized as follows. So here's a picture of Einstein and Bohr, and Einstein says, I am at any rate convinced that he, meaning God, does not throw dice. And this is what Einstein's talking about quantum mechanics. It's his way of complaining about quantum mechanics. And Niels Bohr replies to Einstein by saying, Einstein, stop telling God what to do. And so that is the big sort of conflict between these two people over quantum mechanics, and that's how it's summarized. Einstein does not like random events and other things associated with that, and Niels Bohr is quite comfortable with it. But on a deeper issue, really, the quantum mechanics that they were building up was in conflict with what Einstein had about relativity. Einstein did not like the direction that quantum physics was going in, resulting in an argument or discussion with Bohr, and it ended up with a split between quantum physics and Einstein's relativity. The theories didn't unify properly. Physics was thus disunified instead of what it should have been as unified. A large part of the problem was the constancy of light speed, which by the way, I think a lot is commonly said about that is a misunderstanding of relativity. And I've dealt with videos where I've thought Einstein's relativity has been misinterpreted and so forth, and other issues. It's resulted in what is the EPR paradox, and I'm going to explain that in the next slide. And it's this physics site says about it. What Einstein did to counter the idea of quantum mechanics is that he came up with the idea in 1935, but it would later strike himself back. Einstein's opponents had used the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle against him. With this new idea, Einstein gave a strong argument that position of a particle can indeed be measured without disturbing the particle. Einstein, along with Podolsky and Rosen, discovered a combined state of two particles known as the Einstein-Podolsky-Rosen state, or simply the EPR state. And that's the EPR paradox thing. In this state, the quantum wave function of one particle cannot be described independent of the other particle. The phenomenon is known as the quantum entanglement. Hence, any action on one particle has an immediate effect on the other particle, no matter what distance they're apart from each other, and that would be faster than light. So this is the part of the paradox. You've got an interaction happening faster than light. Light speed, which according to Einstein is not possible. As for there would be something that carries the information about the measurement from one part to the other immediately, i.e. faster than light, which contradicts Einstein's special relativity, or really I would say it contradicts the common understanding of special relativity. And so work on the Einstein-Podolsky-Rosen paradox by one man resulted in the following type of headlines. And the headline is from BBC News: John Bell, the Belfast scientist who proved Einstein wrong. And this was in article was in 2014. And there's a similar headline in another article, also by BBC News, this time in 2015, and it says John Bell, Belfast street named after physicist who proved Einstein wrong. And what it says is Dr. Bell was born in Belfast in 1928 and went on to become one of the leading physicists of the 20th century. In later life he was nominated for the Nobel Prize, but he died in 1990 before he could be awarded the honour. I think what would have happened is, if John Bell hadn't died so young and had got his Nobel Prize, then there would have been a great more publicity for a scientist getting a Nobel Prize for showing Einstein wrong, or more accurately, showing that there was something wrong with things that are commonly said about Einstein's relativity. The mainstream would then have been forced to address the mess they've made in relativity, but that didn't happen, and the mainstream would be able to come up with excuses and carry on with the mess. As highlighted in my previous videos on relativity, what the mainstream keep doing is moving goalposts for relativity. In other words, patching it up, finding excuses for when it hits problems. With no event like a scientist getting a Nobel Prize for Einstein wrong, such as the case of Dr. Bell, the mainstream can just keep on moving goalposts, i.e. forming excuses, patching it up. In cruder language, it is, without the shit hitting the fan, which would have resulted from a Nobel Prize being awarded for Einstein for being wrong, the mainstream was able to keep sweeping problems with relativity under the carpet. And so this is what I think has happened with Einstein's relativity. There is no big fuss about Einstein being wrong, with a person being awarded a Nobel Prize for that, and so they've managed to just keep carrying on with the mess. And that's the end, Finch. Thank you.